Why Not? A queer podcast.
Thank you to our sponsor, Pineapple Healthcare, an award-winning primary care clinic right here in Orlando.
Pineapple Healthcare offers mental health counseling, HIV, STI testing and treatment, and specializes in care for the LGBTQ plus community.
Open Monday through Saturday. Call today at 407-553-6336 and schedule your appointment.
Pineapple Healthcare. Better together.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rick Todd.
And I'm Jeremy Williams, and you're listening to Wine,
Why Not? A queer podcast.
episode 115. There's a pause there. You took a sip.
I did.
Right before your line.
I was very thirsty.
That was intense.
I'm very thirsty.
Welcome back.
Well,
back.
thanks.
We'll get into it, but
We sure will.
you were gone for a bit.
Oh, we'll get into it.
We will.
I made the mistake. I mean, it's not a mistake. It was planned.
Yeah.
But I did not allow even 12 hours between the time I landed and the time I had to be at work.
Every trip.
I'm exhausted.
I think everybody does. They're like, it says, I'm going to take a day before and a couple of days after for recoup when I get back from vacation. Nobody does. Everybody comes back the day, or in your case, hours before you have to be at work.
I'll tell you what, though, if I had planned it, I would have changed my flight. I would have stayed. I would have actually flown in this morning if I could have got away with it.
Oh, all right.
Or
That
just
good.
stayed.
Or there you go.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
It's not like I have anyone to answer to. Oh, just our listeners.
Caitlin over and had her take your spot. Here, let's practice. Hey, Caitlin, how was your week? You can take the mouth gag off. That's okay.
That's it. What if we did that? You can be in the room. You just have to wear a ball gag.
No talking. So yeah, 115.
115.
I have a couple of.
Let's hear it.
They're interesting to me. I don't know if they'll be interesting to anybody else, but I have.
They can let us know.
3. The
Shoot us
first
an email.
one, Form 115 is a prison system form that is used for administrative violations. I don't know anything more than that.
I wish I need an example.
But apparently it's somebody who,
Stepped out of line.
messed up their paperwork. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It's an administrative violation, so I don't know what that means.
Like a prisoner gets, or like an employee.
Google gave me all the
Very
information that
confused.
I just gave you, and
It
I
is
don't know
not your
anything.
turn at the phone. Administrative violation. Give me Form 115.
My favorite one, Element 115, is the name of the substance that created the zombies in the video game Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies. So I have a little thing.
Sounds like you did a deep dive to get that one.
I did. Here, this is according to Call of Duty wiki website. There's a wiki website for Call of Duty. Element 115 was used to create the zombies, as one of the side effects was the reanimation of dead cells. The zombies were used as super soldiers by the Germans. Exciting. After creating, the Germans realized that they were uncontrollable and would lead to the destruction of mankind. So sad. The Element 115 is used in the ray gun, the pack and punch machine, the Perca-Cola machines. I have no idea what any of this is. The Wunderwaffe, the DG2, and other various wonder weapons.
Was this a weapon? This thing that the
All of the
only
thing
thing
I
that
just
you gave an
listed.
accent to was a weapon?
Yes, all of the things I just listed were weapons. This is good to keep in mind. There are various symptoms to the exposure of Element 115. So if you have any of these, go to your nearest hospital.
You develop a palate for brains.
Short-term memory loss, psychosis, 115-induced delusions, and paranoia.
That sounds familiar.
That's everything right now. So
I was going to say.
what it is Element 115 has
Is that Trump
permeated
delusion
our
syndrome, or is
political
that MAGA's
system.
philosophy of life? I don't know.
And the only other thing I have is 115 is a nude number, which means it's divisible by every one of its digits. It is also a Zuckerman number, which means it is divisible by the product of its digits. And it is also a Duffian number. All of this just speaks to 115 is considered a lucky number.
Well, this should be a really good episode then.
Yeah. So lucky 115.
Lucky 115. I think we just got our title.
That's all I have for this. I bet you have something in the director realm.
I mean, I usually am the one with the boring facts, but I think I might win this one.
What are you talking about? That Call of Duty shit was amazing.
That was pretty. It was in depth.
It was intense. I'm gonna go play that game now.
I feel like you spent some time on that.
My $900 PS5.
If you do, I want to know what that
Yeah, I will.
what that
I'll
weapon
take a look
does.
into what kind of weapon that is.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Something Rose Nyland would use, I imagine.
I imagine so.
All right, so we got the 115th greatest film of all time. Care to take a stab?
Knocked Up.
No, but good guess. Very close.
That is easily in the top 500 films ever made.
Very close. It's a 1945 film by Rossellini.
Oh, it's Wunderwaffe, DG2. I said it earlier.
How did you know? It's called Rome, Open City.
Oh, okay.
It was it's a breakthrough movie. It is credited with being the first neo-realism film.
Okay.
Which is movies about sadness, I guess.
I will check it
World
out.
War II movies about sadness.
Fascinating.
So that was that. Director, the 115th greatest director of all time. You know this one.
I do know
but
this
you
one.
will not guess it.
Steven Soderbergh.
No,
Yeah,
but you
I know.
do know who it is. It's
Okay.
Peter Jackson.
Oh, yeah, Lord of the Rings fella.
Lord of the Rings. And according to the person who put this list together, the film that he is not credited with enough, Heavenly Creatures.
Oh, that's a queer film.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I thought it
Kate
was.
Winslet. She plays a lesbian.
Yeah.
One of her first films. He also did the King Kong remake, which is actually really good. I really like that one. And he did that Michael J. Fox movie. I think it's called The Frighteners from the 90s.
Oh, really?
Pretty good film too.
Doesn't sound like something I would have watched.
It's a comedy with Michael J. Fox.
Maybe I would then.
Yeah, comedy
Usually
horror.
if it says Frightener.
Yeah, it's like Ghostbustery type.
Do you know what happened in 115 AD?
I surely don't. I'm not familiar with that part of history.
There was a massive earthquake in Antioch, which
Oh.
is like a Greek city, I think. It's part of the
Okay.
Roman Empire. Anyway, it killed 260,000 people. Isn't that
Jesus.
crazy? It was like a 7.5.
They didn't
I'm
make
guessing
buildings
on the
back
Richter
then like
scale.
they used to.
But they didn't have one back then, right?
I don't think so.
No. It's also a UK area code, but that's all I got for that.
Okay. Beautiful.
Good times.
Good
115, all
115.
kinds of interesting stuff.
I already have one for next week. So stay tuned and tune in next week because I have a really good one for 116.
I'm really curious now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to listen to the next one. Tell me what it is.
It's something that I got about 10 episodes ago, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to jot that down because that's a good little tidbit."
Speaking of episodes, is White Lotus done?
White Lotus is done,
And you've watched it all?
that is on my list of things I did last week.
Oh, okay.
I did. I
Well-
watched it
well,
last
let
night.
me
We'll
not
lead
jump
into
in.
it.
Let's
no,
go in.
let's lead it. I watched the season finale of White Lotus. Ranking. I won't tell you anything. Have you watched it
I
yet?
haven't,
Okay,
so-
I'm not going to tell you about it. However, ranking it, I rank it as 3 in the seasons. It was not a bad season, but it was my least favorite of the White Lotus seasons.
Yeah.
So, but it's 90
Even though
minutes long.
even though there was way more penis in this one.
There was quite a bit of penis. I thought that the story lacked in this one as compared to the other two, but the other two were really good seasons.
Yeah.
So
Well, the first one was incredible because it was
season 2 is my favorite of the 3.
Yeah.
I like season 2 more than 1, but both of them were fantastic. I don't think this one held up as well to the other two, but it was good.
I'm very curious to see. I forget that the whole thing is based off of somebody shooting the place up.
Yeah.
And I forget that as I'm watching it, what happened. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to think that it's like the brother because he loses his mind after his brother, jerks him off, that he shoots everyone. But I don't think
Yeah.
that's the case. I don't think it's
I
him.
will
Because I think
say-
I saw him hiding in the first.
in the first, because that's how the season opens. What I thought it was completely different than what it turns out to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've watched. I think I have 6 and 7 to go, which I'm probably not
okay.
going to get to until Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because
It's
I
worth
can't watch
watching.
it without Dylan.
I had a nice little chat. This is something else I did last week. I got a filling taken care of because I had a little hairline crack in it. So went to Dapper Dental and
and you and your
Doc over there,
people are best
he
friends, and
is obsessed with this show. So we talked about the White Lotus. We could have had our own podcast while I was getting drilled.
did you
About
did you
the
talk
White
about the White
Lotus?
Lotus while you're in the chair?
No.
Does he know your history?
No. And I don't think we need to do that kind of history. I have a history with dentists. That's all we'll leave it at. However, he did, and we all know I have a huge crush on my dentist, so, no shocker there. But because it was in the upper left side of my tooth, he was drilling, and he rested his hand along my cheek like he was holding my face. It was very romantic. I enjoyed it immensely.
Did you then cup his hand?
Oh my God. While he was doing it, I was like, should I reach up and do it to him? It's only fair. But I did not.
I just picture you just putting your hand there and going, this is happening.
Oh my God.
So
but
are
it was
you
a
allowed
good
to go
time.
back?
I am allowed back.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. So I did that. I'll go really quickly. The other two things I did, because I know you had a very, very busy weekend. I want to hear all about it. But I did want to give a shout. I went and saw our friend Cece Tennille had her Aretha Franklin show at Orlando Shakes. Absolutely amazing. Her voice is phenomenal. And we'll talk after this, but she's having a intimate kind of private concert that I have been invited to. And I get a +1.
Oh my God, that's
So,
I can't wait to hear what Chris thinks about it.
No. We'll talk about it, make sure the days line up, but I think that you would enjoy it. So I went to that. And then on Friday, me, Andreas, Gabrielle, and their friend Adrian all went and saw A Nice Indian Boy, the new Jonathan Groff movie. And it is you haven't heard of this?
No, I'm just confused that you saw him because I saw him.
Well, I saw him in film. You saw him in person. But A Nice Indian Boy it's him and the actor's name. He's from Deadpool. Karan Soni.
Yeah.
He plays
the driver.
Deepinder, the driver.
Yeah.
In a romantic comedy. So good.
Oh, I should go see it.
You should go see it. We should
And
talk about it. But it's because it's an independent film. It's only playing at the AMC at Disney Springs. So I went over to I hate going over to the Disney side, but the traffic was terrible. Everything was horrible, but I'm very glad I did because it was such a good movie. So good. You have to check it out. And that's all I did this week. Other than that, I sold a bunch of Lego sets because I'm running out of room in my Lego room. So I was like, okay, I'm going to clear some out so I can make some space for some of the sets that I haven't built yet so I can put them out. So I sold about 10 sets, and Brixley Minifigs down by the Florida Mall gave me $750 for them. So thumbs up to them.
Oh, wow.
For buying my sets.
I thought about you over the week. Did you know that Lego makes those? Have you seen them, like metallic sort of structures that you put together, and they're not the blocks like the Lego blocks, but it's like of the Empire State Building or
they're architecture sets.
Yeah, they look really nice.
They are my problem with those is they're very repetitive, the build, because they're all basically the same pieces. But the end product, they look absolutely beautiful.
I didn't realize that there was lingo. The build. The build is repetitive.
It is a very repetitive build. In fact, do you know that I am referred to as an, was it an adult, AFOL? An AFOL is an adult fan of Lego. AFOL. There's some more lingo for you.
All right. Congratulations. Did you get a certificate?
I have a card and everything, yeah.
I would imagine that there are levels to this society of Lego people, and I would imagine that you probably have a pretty high ranking in it. Not like Lego Master, but, know.
No. I wish I was a Lego Master. I'm more of like a Lego getcha guy. I go and get stuff for Lego Masters.
If you could get
I'm a
paid,
runner. I'm a Lego runner.
If you could get paid to put Legos together, would you quit this job and go put Legos together? Yeah. I mean, these Lego Masters, they have to have a team of people.
Yeah,
And
I think so.
And they're getting paid to do it, I assume.
Are you encouraging me to start to seek this out?
Well, after you hear what I have to say.
Seriously, start applying. No, so
Well, that's exciting. I have questions though.
Yeah,
I'm just curious. Are you a fan enough of like Aretha Franklin, or is it just that Cece Tennille is so good it's an enjoyable show?
Oh, I just love Cece.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a collection of. I'm not like a super Aretha fan.
Are there more than 3 songs that you're like, oh, I like this song, or I'm excited about this song?
Probably about 4 or 5.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be able to like listen to a whole Aretha album and say, "Oh, this is just all bops."
I'm gonna say get crazy. She's no Air Supply.
Oh, ooh, careful! Don't put that in the universe. I love Aretha Franklin, but no, I'm not like a super fan. But I am a CC super fan.
Yeah,
I absolutely adore her.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a lovely time.
It was a very light week compared to the one before for me.
Yeah.
But how was your week?
My week was okay.
All right, moving along.
Yeah, it was okay. I watched a movie. Shall we talk about it? Transamerica. No, it was great. I had a great week. It was very busy.
Yes.
My mother said something about me once because I was really busy. This was like a year ago, and I was like, I just want to go home and sit and do nothing. And she goes, yeah, if you had that in your schedule on your way home, you would schedule 5 or 6 things and to do that night. And she's right. Like, I cannot not have something in my schedule. And so I was like, oh, I'm in New York. Let's just pack this full of whatever we can. So I went to New York for this LMA conference, Local Media Association. Watermark got put into what they call their what do they call it? Branded content cash camp. So we're learning a lot about branded content. We used to think, oh, branded content's a dirty word, but now it's like it's a little more involved. It's not like, here, we're going to give you money and you write an article about us that makes us look good. It's not that. It's other things, but it's a great way to broaden your revenue stream for newspapers and things where that might be seeing it dwindling in
Danny
traditional
went with
advertising.
you earlier in the week.
Yes.
And he came back and you stayed a couple extra days up there, and he was super excited when he got back about a lot of the things you all talked about up there.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really great conference. As far as just conferences go, LMA does a really good job at making them super useful, and you learn a lot of different things. And I'm going to go over some of this with you and Ryan in our next meeting. But man, there is some shit AI can do. It's just crazy what it can do. Like there's this thing. Have you heard of Notebook LM?
I have not.
So, I mean, here's a practical thing. Sure. So this is for anybody that's a sales manager, and maybe you already know this, and whatever. You can take data, just raw data information. So I could take every issue that at Watermark, just number the issue, and then put a sales rep, like a name, and how much they brought in, and go back 5 years, and just put that spreadsheet in there, and then say, what are my goals for 2025? And it would write your goals for you, like in a second. You could take it takes data and it analyzes it. So let's say you're writing a story and you're trying to find a bit of information. You want to know, where's the money going? You take their budgets. Let's say, so you take a place's nonprofit budgets. Let's just say that you're investigating a nonprofit to say, hey,
let's just say I'm investigating George at the center.
Oh, I wasn't going to use anyone real. Then you just take all this information, all the annual reports, all this stuff, and you plug it in there, and you say the top 5 things to know about this, and it'll spit it out to you. It's very fascinating the way that these things can be done. So there's a bunch of different AI things. So it was really kind of cool. We were in the Google offices, which is really nice.
Yeah, Danny mentioned
Surprisingly secure, like very secure. So secure that they were like, don't leave this room because you might get locked in a hallway. Like, so if you're like, oh, I'm going to go to the restroom and you leave, you might get locked somewhere. You can't get back in. So it was very interesting. But but they were really nice. It reminded me of, say, Full Sail's setup, where it's like they had all these different buildings around. And it wasn't just one humongous building; it was a bunch
like
of them,
like a big campus kind of thing.
Yeah, and but it's just really kind of cool. Their cafeteria, by the way, is insane. This is what I'm going to talk about for an hour now. It's just food. So they take us to the cafeteria, and it reminded me of a cruise ship, being at the buffet on a cruise ship. So this is just their normal cafeteria, right? Wow. That you go to every day, and
free of charge,
no money exchanges hands. Wow. So you just walk in, and there was a sushi station where somebody was making sushi fresh. There was this sort of like healthy bowls. I just say healthy because it had kimchi. I ended up getting that because there was too much going on. There's a line for hamburgers and hot dogs. There's all kinds of stuff everywhere. And then their break rooms, like their little you have all these offices and things are going on. And there's this little corner over here that's got coffee and water and sodas and, Sour Patch Kids and all kinds of candy, whatever you want, just right there. Just grab it.
Reese's peanut butter cups?
Didn't see those. But it was really kind of cool.
Way to disappoint me, Google.
Yeah. It was odd too that there was one thing that was super odd about it. And when they were doing the AI stuff, we were in this big room that was supported by all these columns. And so certain people in certain seats couldn't see what was going on, which is very weird. It was like you might expect it to be a little more high tech than that. But it was really kind of cool. Google did a great job. Everything was great. Food was great. Now, Danny and I won't get into that yet. Let's talk about the cool stuff that we had there. So, we ate at Carmine's. That was pretty cool. Are you familiar with Carmine's?
I am
right
not.
in the theater district, Italian place. It was really good. It was just kind of weird. There's a lot of different groups that are there, and one of the groups is News Is Out, and we are part of News Is Out, but we weren't at the conference to be part of News Is Out. So we were part of this branded content thing. So News Is Out is doing their own thing, and we're doing our thing. And then, but because we're gay, News Is Out was like, hey, let's invite all the gay papers to go to the Stonewall Visitor Center, I think they call it, but it's part of the Stonewall National Memorial Museum. Have you been to that?
I haven't. No. When we were up in New York, I did not venture any lower than Central Park because I don't care for that for a lot of people.
I don't know if it was there when we were there as a group, but everybody should go. It's great. It really is cool to have the history. And one of the cool parts of it is, so Stonewall is a bar that exists and it's still there.
Yeah.
And it's part of the original, but right next door to it, which was the other, which is like it was two storefronts, but one bar. One of them became something else over time. But when that space emptied out around the time they were putting this museum together, they decided this is where we want it to be. And it's actually in the room, and like where we're all sitting and a presentation was happening was what used to be the dance floor. And it was kind of cool because Mark Siegel was there and he was talking to us about being there when he was 18 years old. And we were sitting where he danced with other guys for the first time. And it was just a really cool moment. But there is a doorway that got bricked over and drywalled over and became part of a separate, split the buildings and that kind of thing, that they excavated and they cut the hole out so that you could see the doorway that went into the original thing, and it's just covered by glass with a quote from Mark. It's really kind of cool. Really, really, really enjoyable. We got a lot of pictures and things from that. So that was a cool thing that we did. And then after that, we went to Carmine's. But we got to Carmine's. Danny and I were like, when we were done with the thing, we were done with the thing. So we went in there and we walked around. Everybody else was milling about, taking their time. But we didn't know if they were taking cars or subways. And we just were like, let's get to the next thing. So we got on the subway and went to Carmine's. And we got there before anybody else. So we sat down at a table and we're like, well, maybe they'll come and sit with us. So who actually came to sit with us were the people that were part of our cash camp and not the
out people.
They came first, and then the out people came later, and they were like, oh, they didn't save a seat, so they went and sat somewhere else. So we sat next to people who talked about nothing but college basketball the entire night. We were like, we just so didn't belong at that table, but it was fun. So we ate at Carmine's. That was fun. Ate at Google. Delicious food. Went to see that. That was great. Okay. So then on Friday, this is the order in which I'm not telling you the order things happen. I just have to segment things out because there is. So I debated whether I was going to tell the story or not, because I'm sure somebody somewhere is going to say, you shouldn't have done this. And that's okay. So Dylan and Jen arrived on Friday to meet. So the conference was done on Wednesday. I had Thursday by myself, and then Jen and Dylan arrived on Friday. And we're sitting around, what are we going to do? Dylan says he wants to buy a knockoff handbag. I shouldn't say that. He wants to buy a handbag. Just a regular old handbag.
It's a regular old handbag.
He just doesn't want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on it. He just wants to spend a lot less.
Normal response. Nothing to see here. Keep moving
along. A
along.
normal handbag in Chinatown is what he wants to buy. So we're like, whatever. I mean, I used to live there, right? And you go around and on every street corner is like a sheet that's laid down with all this stuff on it. Handbags, glasses, watches, whatever.
They don't take you to back rooms or anything? Oh, here we go.
It's all there on a thing, and then if the cops come, they just kind of pick the sheet up, throw it around there, and get out of town, right? So that's why they don't get. That's why it's all in sheets and things like that. So I did. On the way there, we looked up a couple of things. We're like, is it illegal to buy handbags on the street corner of Chinatown? No, it's not. It's illegal to sell them, but it's not illegal to buy them. So we feel okay. So then Jen starts reading things, and it says, if somebody pulls out a laminated sheet, like a laminated card that's got pictures of bags on it, do not talk to them. They're like, if there are vendors on street corners, buy from them, but don't buy from people. And whatever you do not go down an alley with somebody. And I'm just like, I don't remember it being.
Why no laminated sheets?
That's just what they said.
Okay.
They just
I didn't know what the reason was.
I'm assuming it's because it's some sort of high intense operation where they're going to lure you from that into an alley somewhere and then steal all your money or something like that.
Right.
I don't know. But we're walking around. So we get there and we're walking around and we don't see anything. Like not even on the ground. There's like no sheets and no anything like that. But people keep like every street corner. There's somebody will be like bag, and they'll reach in and they'll pull out this little laminated card and they put it back. We're like, no, thank you. We're not doing that. The internet said not to. So we walk like 10 blocks. And I said, Dylan, if you want this to happen,
fuck it, you're going to have to get a laminated sheet.
We're going to have to break the rules. So somebody said, huh? I was like, fine. And then
Take me to your bags.
She goes, okay. And she goes like this. So we start following her. And all of a sudden we start following her. And then you start seeing like across the street, people start coming across the street. And so there's like, it turns out like there's like 3 women in front of her. And then there's her with us. And then I think they didn't realize Jen was with us and she was kind of in the back. So then some guy starts following us and like 2 more women behind him. And Jen's just like, where are they? We walked for like 3 or 4 blocks, like zigzagging around into things. But
trying to escape the authorities.
I did. That's exactly what was happening. But I did say at one point, I was like, it's important for you to know that I am not leaving the street. If you try to make me leave the street, we can just end this now. And she was like, I couldn't hear her. I understand. She had a mask on. She's like, eh. So we get in, and so we get to a thing, and she pulls us to a storefront, like under an awning around a corner, and she pulls the thing out, and she's like, which one do you want, basically? So Dylan's kind of looking at it, and they're like rushing you, like,
yeah.
So he's like, oh, how much is this one? And then she's like, I think it was like $120. She's like, $120. She's like, you want to see it? And he's like, okay. So she goes back. And like comes back like 5 minutes later, and she's like, this is some sketchy shit. She's looking around like crazy, and there's like people like kind of surrounding us, and we go like behind some car, and she pulls it out real quick and puts it back in, and Dylan's like, okay, I'll take that one. So we give her the cash, and they're gone. Like that. It was like the most sketchy drug deal we'd ever been a part of. I say that like I'm part of them all the time. But it was really crazy. But he got his bag and he fucking loves it.
Nice bag. All right.
Yeah, I've never heard of the brand, but he knows what it is. He showed me that actual bag online. It's like $2,300.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
When I was in South Korea, me, Cooper, and this lady friend of ours who's in the military, her name escapes me right now. So if she's a listener, I apologize. We went to Seoul, and she wanted a designer bag while we were there. And we, same kind of thing. You run into a guy on the street. He's like, do you want bags? And we're like, yeah, we're looking for bags. And he led us into a store. We went through the store, went through the back, into the back room, down cement stairs like we were going into a dungeon, like a basement. And in there were just walls and walls of these knockoff designer bags. And we were in there probably for an hour and a half, and she ended up buying like 20 bags.
Oh, wow.
Like she was obsessed with she's a bag person. I don't know any of the names, but she was like, these are the best knockoffs I've ever seen in my life.
Dylan is also a bag person.
Yeah.
I know none of it. Now, I'm sure that he would rather have done something like that, but we weren't leaving the street.
Yeah.
The internet said not to, so we weren't going to do it.
In New York, I mean, I don't know. Something about in South Korea, I didn't feel in danger anywhere we went. And maybe it's because I was a little more fit then. So I was like, I could take these guys.
Well, I had Jen. Jen would take somebody out.
Yeah.
And she thought, after it was all done, she's like, I swear for a minute, she goes, y'all don't know this, but there were people following you. She's like, and I thought, I'm going to have to take somebody out.
Yeah.
And she'd do it too. But it was like a movie. It was just it was like the sophisticated ring. Like they knew how to surround people. They knew where to, it was really crazy.
They've been doing it for years.
Yeah. And they're very angry. They were
they're
very angry.
I imagine, get your bag and get out. Crazy white man. You're not getting me thrown in jail.
Yeah. But that's super authentic. It comes with the box and the bags and all the labels and everything. Good job. I mean, I'm sure that we could have a long conversation about how they're probably made, and that's where the conversation goes south. But
Did you ask her while you had her how the tariffs would impact their bag-off bags? Are the prices going to go up?
No, but I knew that Dylan's plan was to empty his 401k to buy the bag, and then he had to borrow money from Jen when we realized what happened to the 401k. All right. So now, real quick, I want to talk about scones.
Okay.
Have we had a conversation at all about scones before I left?
You and I?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay. So I saw in the news that there was this Irish pub.
I take that back. Yes.
Okay, we did talk about this.
Yes, when you were talking about your Irish soda bread.
All right, so there's a place that's a storefront. It's a bakery, and all they make out of this bakery are Irish soda bread scones with homemade blackberry jam and butter. Right. So I'm on a mission. This is something I'm gonna do, and Danny and I are talking about it. And we're trying to find when are we gonna go? In between this, blah blah blah. So we're sitting there in Times Square, and we're like, we should go and get these.
Yeah.
So we look it up. I look up. This is what I type into Google: Irish soda bread scone. And Mary O's, and I'm like, that's it, Mary O's. That's the name of the place. Pops up, and it's got the address. It's got a picture of the bakery right there.
Beautiful.
This is it.
You've got all your details.
I got everything I need.
Yeah.
Opens at 5 p.m.
For scones?
Closes at 3 a.m. Isn't that weird?
Aren't scones more of like a tea time
Hey,
snack?
what do I know? It's New York City, right? And I'm thinking maybe people like their scones after a few drinks.
All right.
What do I know? I'm looking at it. It's a picture of the bakery. It says 5 to 3, and who am I to question that? So Danny and I jump in a cab from Midtown at like 9:30 at night, $25 cab ride to get there and find out that was the bar. And that the scone place is not open until 7 a.m. and it's like 3 blocks away, right?
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, 7 a.m., that's fine. We had big plans. So we walked, that was in the East Village. So we were there in the East Village, like, why waste the time? Let's walk over to the West Village and go to the Duplex, which was a place that I love. And I used to hang out there all the time when I lived there. So much so, I've been here for 23 years.
This is the Patti LuPone place? Not Patti LuPone. Who's the... we saw her in Hello, Dolly.
Oh, no, that was Barracuda.
Okay.
What's her name? Betty Buckley.
Betty Buckley.
But that place closed like 3 days before I got there, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, wait, yes, you did tell me that. Oh, that's
but no, the Duplex, Joan Rivers did a cabaret show there. A lot of people do. It actually was open. It was the Duplex during Stonewall, and it was right, there's a couple storefronts down. Anyway, so we go there, and there's this bartender there, and so it's a kind of a place where the bartenders get up and sing, and Maria, which is somebody who worked there when we were there every day of our lives when we lived there for 3 years, and she recognized me when I went in there.
Oh, wow.
But here's a funny story. So after a while, I was like, oh, Jen will be in on Friday, so we might come back on Saturday. And she's like, oh, I don't work here. Then I work at this other place, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes, how is Jen? I was like, she's good. She's like, where is she? Is she living on the Upper West Side these days? And I was like, no, she lives in Orlando. And she's like, oh my God, when did she move there? I was like, we both did in 2002.
She just thought you guys never came to this side of town?
She was like, what? Like, she thought that she had just seen us recently. She's like, didn't I just see you guys? I'm like, probably 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Because anytime we go to New York, we make our way there, and she's usually there when we're there. So I just thought that was funny. Back to the scones.
Yes.
So Danny and I have this big plan because he flies out Thursday afternoon. I'm staying and I'm there by myself. So we're like, let's get up early. Let's go get the scones. We'll go to the Broadway Museum, and then I'll be back by 11 to get in line for TKTS to buy tickets to some show. So we go to the Duplex. We don't get back to the hotel until like just after midnight. And I'm like, there's no way I'm getting up that early in the morning. So why don't we'll get up. I was like, I'll get up when I leave to go to TKTS. You can use my room because he had to check out. You can put all your stuff in my room until you want to leave and whatever. So in the morning, he's like, I'll just go with you to TKTS. So we go there, and then we're like, as soon as I get my ticket to a show, we're like, oh, let's run and grab scones real quick. So we go on our way to get there. And before we get onto the subway, Danny's like, let me just check something. It's 11:30, and he checks, and they only serve scones until noon.
Oh.
So it's 7 to noon. So missed it again. Didn't go. But finally went Saturday morning when Jen and Dylan were in, and I'm gonna tell you, this was the most delicious thing I've ever eaten. I should be embarrassed to tell anyone I ever made an Irish soda bread.
Yeah.
I refuse to let you think I made the one that I gave you. I found the recipe online. I'm going to make this, and I'm going to bring them in. I'm going to make the blackberry jam, everything. They were so good. It was a trek in the rain. Like, you have to take the subway down to the East Village, and then you got to jump on a bus, but we just walked it. So it's like another 15-minute walk. But so worth it. So if you're in New York and you haven't had Mary O's scones, go. Delicious.
All right.
All right. Are we ready to talk about shows?
Yeah. Let's talk about what shows you saw.
All right. Let me get to page 13 of my booklet. I just want to make sure I cover all this stuff. Yeah. All right. Before we talk about that,
Sure.
should we talk about the Broadway Museum?
If you want to.
It was really kind of cool.
I saw the photos that looked interesting.
I want to make two comments about it.
Mm-hmm.
First up is that, well, maybe just one. We'll see. There's a picture of Miss Sammy there.
Oh, yeah.
In the
Danny
Broadway
said
Museum.
That, yeah.
Isn't that really cool?
That is
so
cool.
there was on this wall of all the shows that have gone up, they had a picture from La Cage aux Folles and Miss Sammy, who's a local drag queen that passed away a few years ago. Loved by everybody. Great friend of the paper. Always there to do anything that we ever asked. Like a really, really, really good person. Original cast of La Cage aux Folles, and there's a picture of it up there, and right dead center was Miss Sammy.
Beautiful.
So that was really cool. There was a lot of good things about that museum. It was just it was fascinating. I learned some things that I didn't know about Broadway. Like, it didn't start in Times Square. It started in the financial district and moved its way up. A lot of really cool stuff. Oh, here's the other thing. You might appreciate this. So there's a room where there's like 20 different costumes from different shows.
Yeah.
And we look back and one of them is a baseball uniform. And
Danny showed me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we said, Danny said, oh, look, there's a thing from Take Me Out. And the staff of Watermark went up to have a retreat a couple of years ago in New York, and we all went to see Take Me Out. And for those who don't know, that's a show where the entire cast, except for one, Jesse Tyler Ferguson, everybody else ends up naked on stage.
Yeah,
and there are a lot of shower scenes, a lot of nudity. And the guy from Grey's Anatomy, Jesse Williams, who was the star of it, very blessed.
Yes.
Is one way to say it.
Wonderful penis is another way to say it.
Huge dick is another way to say it. No, it was
wonderful talent.
He was full of talent. Anyway, so when the guy heard us talking about it, he was like, "Oh, there's a little Easter egg in that costume over there. If you go look at it from the side." I went to look at it from the side. I was like, "That is not an Easter egg. That is an elephant trunk." So apparently, what happened is when they got the costume, they got everything, including the jock strap. So they decided to fill it the way that it was filled on stage, and it was pretty large. There's a big bulge in it, so that was kind of cute.
How much did they pay for said jock strap?
I don't know.
I will match plus $2.
I don't know, but I can only tell you what it smelled like.
Ew.
Anyway, the museum's cool. If you go to New York, if you're a fan of Broadway, you've got to go to this. It's like $40, I think we paid. If you go and hang out around TKTS, somebody around there will shout out some code that'll get you 10% off. Say $4. But it was really kind of cool. There's a whole rent room. With all kinds of stuff.
That you can rent or the show rent?
The show rent.
Oh, okay.
And so that was really kind of cool. I could have stayed there for a long time. So that was pretty cool. Now we'll talk about shows. So you're familiar with TKTS?
I am vaguely familiar. Just based on hearing you talk about it, and when Joey was up there, he talked about it.
TKTS is like it's a nonprofit organization that sells Broadway tickets up to 50% off. And so there's rules to it. You got to stand in line. You get, there's that show you what shows they're selling for the day. So basically, theaters that have a bunch of empty seats give their tickets to TKTS and they sell them at a discounted rate. And they only sell them for the day of, and you got to stand in line no matter what, rain or whatever. So then got a message, totally threw me off. but it's their parent company is TDF, which is like the Theater District Fund, something of that nature. And you could be a member of TDF, which gets you discounted tickets as well, and you get better discounts. But it's very selective. The shows are usually for shows that are like 3 to 4 weeks in advance. So I'm a member of TDF, and Danny and I knew we were going to go, so we ended up getting tickets to see Death Becomes Her. And I got them for like $50. So when you buy them at TKTS, you get a 50% off, and they're like $150. So I got a really great discount. So we got $50 tickets to go see it. We had great seats. It stars Megan Hilty. So have you seen the movie?
I love the movie. And I was actually last year I was going to take a trip up to New York for a few days for the opening of that show. And then that's when my mom ended up having her surgery, and I had to go stay with her. But yeah, my plans were to go see the opening of that show. I love the movie, love Megan Hilty, and I've heard very good things about it.
I know you were a fan of Megan Hilty. I didn't know you were. I was not. I've watched the movie. Yeah. I'm sure I laughed at it when I saw it, but I could care less about the movie. So I was not super excited about the prospect of seeing the show. And in fact, that's why I bought the tickets. So they didn't think that Jen and Dylan would want to go either. So I just bought the tickets to Danny and I go, so when they came in, we'd see something else that would be really good.
Yeah.
You know, like The Outsiders or something that won a Tony. And so anyway, we go to see this. Man, was this show good. So Megan Hilty stars in it. Jennifer Simard. She was in Somewhere in Queens, a movie with Ray Romano.
Yeah.
But I don't know her from anything else. But Christopher Sieber, he plays the character Bruce Willis played, the husband. He was in the original cast of Prom.
Okay.
But he was really good too. And then, of course, Michelle Williams.
Of Destiny's Child fame.
Was in it.
You know, when they first announced it, I thought it was Michelle Williams from Dawson's Creek and Brokeback Mountain. I got excited. And I love Destiny's Child, but to think it was like, oh my God, Michelle Williams. And this was the point where I was planning on going to see the show. And then hearing it was the third most popular member of Destiny's Child, I was like, oh.
She was really good.
But I hear she's really great.
Yeah, she was really great. Yeah. So, you know, this show is about youth and beauty. And so the dancers, like the ensemble cast, were just
gorgeous,
beautiful, and very scantily clad. Oof. Their costumes were crazy. Have you seen any images of this?
I have, yeah.
They are crazy.
Her pushing her down the stairs scene, I saw that on TikTok or YouTube, one of them. And then the opening dance number I saw.
Isn't it terrible that I think that people like that should be illegal? You should be able to buy whatever knockoff you want, but that people like that should get arrested. I guess they're taking it out to the world of people who can't see it, but
as somebody who didn't get to see the show, I appreciate those people.
I will say that moment is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Like the cast is so talented. This is a super campy show, and it's really funny. It's weird to me. Well, no, it's like there's a thing they do that is funny. There'll be like a fight scene, right, between the two stars, and they'll go off stage like choking each other, and then when they go, like you think they go out one door and come into another, and when they come back in, it's two of the dancers, but like the men dressed up as them,
as stunt,
as their stunt doubles, and then they have this whole fight scene, hilarious. Not even trying to pretend that they're these women. It was just hilarious and great. And that scene, the dancer was so talented. You know, I wondered like how were they going to handle the special effects of this? Like how was she going to fall down the stairs and break her neck and have that look realistic? But the choreography of that dance of her falling down there was just fantastic.
It is currently, they haven't done the announcements yet, but it is currently favored to get a shit ton of Tony nominations, and it's favored to win Best Musical this year. So
is it? Yeah. Well, I'm glad I saw it for that because it really is good. You know, it's the one that I like, the show that I like the most is Gypsy, and that'll be nominated for Revival. Yeah. So anyway, it's super good, super campy. Really loved it. Hilarious. I think if you should find your way up there to see it and to see it with this cast. Really good. So that was like what, Tuesday, Wednesday we had a dinner, so I couldn't go to anything, and then the show I went to see by myself on Thursday night because I knew nobody else would want to go see it. I went to go see Stephen Sondheim's Old Friends.
Oh.
Now that
That's the Bernadette Peters and Leah
Salonga.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they
heard
had
about
this
that.
group. It's a big cast. I thought when I bought the ticket, it was just the two of them singing a bunch of Sondheim songs, but no, it was a pretty big cast. And I mean, I was in line, and I figured that's what I was going to get tickets to. And somebody was asking me what I was going to see, and I said I was going to see that. And they're like, "Oh, if you love Broadway, you're going to love this show." And I said, "I do love Broadway, but I don't really love Stephen Sondheim musicals."
Yeah.
But I think from every musical, there's a song or two that is really good, and I'm hoping that that's just what the show is. And he said, "I can get on board with what you're saying, and you're going to love this show." And when you go to TKTS to get tickets and there's just one of you, you can really get really
you get
good
anything
seats.
you want.
I was really close. I was very close to the stage.
Yeah.
I could easily see everything, like just really, really good. So what I'll say about that show is that I love Leah Salonga, and she's super amazing.
Yeah.
And
there's a piece that just came out on her, I think, in People magazine of her supporting her trans kid.
oh yeah,
Yeah. Big piece in the People magazine on it.
well, good for her.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan. You know, of course, she started as Kim in Miss Saigon. It was the first role that she had, coming over here into America, and she was beautiful in that, and she's beautiful in this. Bernadette Peters was really good.
Love
it's
Bernadette
hard
Peters.
to tell. I know it's hard. It's hard to tell how she was acting because she must have so much work done that I just couldn't see expressions on her face. But I know that she did sing one song where she was crying. I think she was. But it was just so good. It was so good. She was really good in that. A couple people stood up after a song that she sang, which just goes to show that Leah Salonga is one of the most underappreciated people in the history of Broadway.
Because they didn't stand up for her.
They didn't stand up for her.
Oh.
I almost did, but you know how I hate audience participation.
Maybe next time. Try better, Leah.
There's another person. I want to tell you that the cast of The Prom, the original cast of The Prom, is doing very well on Broadway right now.
Are they? All
so
right.
in this was Beth Leavell, I think is her name. She was Deirdre in the original.
Okay.
And then there's another show that the guy who played the lead in The Prom, the actor
you mentioned him
lead,
earlier. He was in Death Becomes Her.
No, that's the guy. He was the guy that played the waiter who went with them.
Oh, okay.
But like the lead actor it's him and Deirdre that are the
James Corden one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That guy is in another Broadway show too. And they're all doing very well.
Is he better than James Corden?
I can only imagine so. I saw him and I saw the original cast of it.
Yeah.
It was really good. So it was something that they do. I've seen a lot of musical reviews, and usually what happens in a musical review is people just dress nicely and they just perform these songs in like suits and nice dresses. And that's what they did for a bit of it. But at another point in it, they started dressing as the characters, and they would do vignettes of different shows like Sweeney Todd.
That's nice.
And things like that. So it was really
Adds a
good.
little more atmosphere.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Did you end up not seeing Redwood then?
I did not see Redwood.
Did you hear? I thought of you last week because a video was going around. I don't know if it was the Wednesday show or the Thursday show, but Christian Chenoweth went to see Idina Menzel in it. And then after the show, went on stage and they sang For Good for the audience. And I was like, oh, I wonder if Rick's in that audience.
No, and I'm not sad that I didn't see it. No.
Heard good things about it.
Man, you can't escape that wicked propaganda, can you?
Yeah.
So I didn't, because somebody said that they saw a clip and it was her in a tree.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I mean, that's the show.
it doesn't interest me.
Like I heard people went and saw Wicked and that it takes place in Oz. That's just the show. She's in a tree.
It's literally about a tree hugger.
Yeah.
Literally she's
about
hugging
a lady
tree.
who
She's
goes
in a tree,
into a tree to save a redwood. Yeah.
hugging it.
Yeah.
Now, Danny saw a review and said that people said the music was okay. And I was like, oh, if the music isn't stellar, then why am I going to waste my time?
Yeah.
I'd much more prefer to see Leah Salonga. So I decided to go to that. There's another show that's called Floyd Collins that's out right now on Broadway, and that starts Jeremy Jordan. And I thought about that too until I heard one of the songs, and I was like, oh my God, it's Redwood, but in a cave. It's about a guy who got lost in a
I'd go
cave.
into a cave with Jeremy Jordan.
He went in by himself. Spoiler, He doesn't come out of it.
Oh, no. I'll go
This
save
is
you,
what a
Jeremy
guy
Jordan.
in line at TKTS said. Somebody was like, oh, I thought about seeing that. And they, oh, it's really good. You know, he gets lost in a cave and dies.
Do you think he goes by JJ
I don't know.
with his friends? I'm going to assume
That's
he
not
does.
Jeremy. Jeremy Jordan. Do you go by JJ? Would you marry another Jeremy?
If it was Jeremy Jordan, yes. It would really depend on who the Jeremy is.
Would you get a voice machine so that you could just be annoying and be like, hi, you've reached
Hi,
the
this is Jeremy and Jeremy.
Jeremys.
I love you, Jordan. Yeah, I would.
Okay. Next up.
Next up.
Sorry, this is going to go on forever.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of the vacation part of this trip was to go to New York and see Jonathan Groff in Just in Time.
Oh, I thought it was for the soda bread scones.
Well, I mean, that's just the delicious byproduct of this trip. So Jonathan Groff, starring as Bobby Darin in this show called Just in Time. Now, it's an interesting kind of setup. The theater is pretty small compared to all theaters, and it's sort of like this theater in the round sort of a thing. So they've got stages set up at either side of the circle, and then in the middle of it they've got tables set up, kind of like Cabaret did when we were here. They've got tables set up in the middle, and the action happens from stage to stage and in the middle there. So let's say you're sitting at one of those tables, the one of the actresses who doesn't come in until like 15, 20 minutes into the show starts off at one of those tables. So you're just somebody there, and this famous actress is sitting at the table with you, waiting for her part in the show to start.
Did you have a table?
No, we did not have a table. Again, I hate audience participation.
Of course.
And so the idea of being part of the action would have mortified me.
Even if Jonathan Groff was at your table?
Especially if Jonathan Groff is at my table, for a very specific reason that I'm going to get into.
Oh.
But
Because he's a spitter?
yes.
Oh, is that what it is?
He is not just a spitter. Like he is wet. He is sopping.
Him and me both.
Wet. He even even says, I mean, it's a joke. It's in every playbill that I have here. I have all these playbills from the shows. There's an interview with him, and all he talks about is like how he's got to stay healthy because he spits so much, and he's afraid he's going to spit on people and they're going to get sick. And like, I'm surprised. I watched to see if any of it went into the mouths of the other people performing, because it is so much. He sweats.
Yeah.
Very profusely, and he spits an insane amount. There's this song he was doing. So we were so fucking close. I feel like we were as close as we are to him. And but we were kind of on the side. But when the stage came out, we were like right on the side. It was perfect seats. You couldn't be closer. It was amazing. But so we had this profile view of him, and he's doing this thing where he's like flinging his hair around and he's singing the song, and it's just, he goes forward, and it just like a shower head just all came out of spit and sweat and all this. I mean, it was kind of gross and crazy, but just really fucking cool too, because the way the lights was hitting it and it was shining, it was really kind of cool. But there's one moment during this thing where he goes into towards the end of the show, and he stands up on this table that two people are sitting at, and he stands up on the table and he's singing, and it's just showering down onto these people, and this lady sitting at the table she's just looking like she kind of sheepish, like rolling her eyes like, I know, and we're all cracking up because it's just every time he moves his head it's just more and more and more, and this guy, like, something hits the guy, you just see him just casually just wipe the spit off of his face. It was just really insane. I gotta say though, I'm in love with him.
Yeah,
he is so good. It's a weird concept in the sense that he starts the show and it's like, hey, I'm Jonathan Groff, and we're gonna take you through this journey about Bobby Darin, whose life was as short as it was fast, and blah blah blah, and like, here's this Gracie, I think her name is Gracie Lawrence. She's gonna play Connie Francis, and this kind of thing. And so the first couple of songs is basically them just kind of telling you what they're going to do. And at some point, they become those characters. And it was really cool. Gracie Lawrence, it was her Broadway debut. She's like in a band, and she's been in some shows. She was on Broadway when she was a kid in some show, Brighton Beach Memoirs. I think she was 12. But she is so incredible in this. I will follow her career. She needs to be in more Broadway shows. Just incredible. Emily Burgle. Do you know who that is?
No.
She was in Carrie 2.
Okay.
Like
okay.
she played
the lead?
the girl that
Okay.
killed
I do know
everybody.
her then. Yes.
Yeah. She was. I think I talked about her. I may have lied about something that she did because she didn't. She was in the Festival of the Arts thing that Disney does at Epcot.
Okay.
I went to see her perform, and she was performing as Princess Anna from Frozen, but she was not the original on Broadway, which I thought she was, but she wasn't. So anyway, they were in it. Just such a good show. Like he's just so charming, and that I didn't even realize that time was passing by. I was just so involved in everything that was happening, and he was funny and amazing.
It's passing by for all of us.
I gotta tell you, you gotta go see that.
Yeah.
Gotta go see it. Him and all of his wetness. Very, very good show. So then the next day I go to TKTS, right, with Jen and Dylan, and we're talking about what we're gonna see. It's been in my mind this whole time that the three of us are gonna go see The Outsiders.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, why not? It won the Tony. But for some reason, while in line, Jen decided that she wanted to see Death Becomes Her because I said it was really good. And she was upset about not getting to see it. So she was going to see Death Becomes Her. And then Dylan and I were talking about going to see something. So it was like, well, maybe we'll see The Outsiders. And then he's like, yeah, that sounds great. But I said, no. You need to see Death Becomes Her because it really is good. And it's a show that you would really enjoy, you know. And then we looked at our phones and we saw that Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center announced what was coming.
Yeah.
And The Outsiders is going on tour.
Part of it, yeah.
And then we realized that the cast that's currently on Broadway is not the original cast. So why go see it now if I'm going to go see it when it comes on tour? So then we decided we weren't going to see The Outsiders, and he was going to go with Jen. So then I decided that I was going to see The Last 5 Years with Nick Jonas.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we were going to see those at night, and then I was like, screw it, we're going to see a matinee. So we just, took out a small loan and saw every show that possibly could, and we decided to go see Happy Endings, which is with Darren Criss. Are you familiar with this at all?
No.
So Maybe Happy Endings, it's about
Is he like a robot or something in it? Okay, I've heard of it.
They're AI robots that are retired. And so what they do with an AI robot when they retire them is they put them in this housing development where they all live by themselves and they don't really interact. This one, like Darren Criss's character, didn't realize that he had been retired and that his owner had abandoned him, and spent the whole show pretty much expecting that his owner was going to come and pick him up, until he meets this more advanced AI that lived next door, and she has problems with her battery, and so she's using his charger and stuff like that. And then they end up falling in love, and it's really sort of this love story about about falling in love when you know it's going to be temporary. And it actually was really, really good. Yeah. I was very surprised. I didn't think I was going to like it. So kudos to you, Darren Criss. Do you want to know how it ends? I'll just say this. It made me a little teary-eyed at the end, because
did their batteries run out? Well,
she convinces him. Her batteries are going to run out and she's going to die, and she knows it. Right. So like when the battery goes and you go, they have a shelf life, as she says. And
Don't
so
we all?
She's reaching hers. Yeah. And so she convinces him to go to his owner's house and say, oh, like if he's not going to come get you, just go to him. And he's like, oh, this is a great idea. So they go on this journey to go to this house, and they find out that the owner's passed away and that the son is there, and the son hates this robot and is the reason that the robot and the guy weren't together anymore, because he said his dad got sick and he was going to have to take care of him, and he said, you can't bring that robot with you because the robot was like the son he always wanted. And so the real son was very unhappy about all that. So they go on this, they find that out, and so then they end up going back to the room, but they fall in love, which was their rule, is that these two robots weren't going to fall in love. And they did, and they had this great, it's so adorable, but they have this great little romance, and they're hilarious, and they pretend fight because there's no reason for them to actually fight. But she gets concerned for him that he's going to have to go through this process of her when she dies. And she doesn't want him to hurt, and he doesn't want her to hurt, knowing that that's going to happen. So they decide that they're going to erase their memories of each other. And then it'll be like it never happened. But it's so adorable because you realize at the end that he didn't erase his memories, that she did. And so he just pretends not to know her, but talks to his plant about how they're in love. And it's adorable.
And that made you cry.
A little bit.
All right.
A little bit. It was really, really kind of cool. So then the last show, finish it up real quick, is I saw The Last 5 Years, which is also a revival, but it's got Nick Jonas in it and Adrienne
Brody.
Warren.
I was wrong.
Adrienne Warren. She won a Tony a couple years ago for Tina Turner musical.
Oh, good for her.
So she is super good. This is another one. This is an interesting one because the show starts off and they've broken up. That's the very first scene. Is he hands her a letter. Real cool. Nick hands her a letter that explains we're not going to be together anymore. So then it tells the 5-year history of their relationship from her perspective, starting from the breakup, moving to when they first met.
Yeah.
While at the same time tells the story of his perspective from when they met to when they broke up. So it's working in reverse. And, somewhere around the middle of the show is when they get married, and that's when they're together and they're on stage together. And the other times they're singing about each other. And so when you get to the end of the show, or like at the very beginning, she's singing about how she's pissed and angry. And his song is like, oh, I just met this girl that I'm really in love with. So at the very end, she's singing about how this guy brought her flowers and she can't wait to spend the rest of her life with him. And he's singing about how he's leaving her. And,
I think there's a movie version with Jeremy Jordan and Anna Kendrick that came out a few years ago.
Yeah, there is a movie version. I did not know that they were in it. And I don't know that I'll watch it. I just got to say, they are very talented. I saw the very last preview performance before the opening, which was on Sunday. The New York Times did not give it a very good review. I thought it was good. And I'm glad that I saw it. But it's one of these things like that the audience could not help but talk about it all the way. Like everywhere I walked around in Times Square, I seemed to be standing next to somebody who saw that performance. And all they were talking about was whose fault it was. And, blaming her for her character. She was an aspiring actress that wasn't very successful. And so it was this sort of like, he wrote books and he was very successful. So he's going to all these parties and she's kind of like, can't we just hang out? Like, why do we have to go to this? And blah, blah, blah. And then he ends up cheating on her. And I don't know. I just walked out of there like, God, that guy's a dick. I hate this. I hate this show. And, so when I'm walking and I'm hearing people like, oh, what a loser she was. I was like, no. He cheated on her. End of story.
Did she give him a reason to? All right, moving along.
I'm going to let's sit in that for a minute. So anyway, all in all, a great trip. I mean, I love Broadway, so it was pretty cool. Dylan and I did spend most of our time there figuring out how we could just move there.
Yeah.
So I'll let you know how that works out.
All right. Fantastic. Well, we managed to squeeze in a movie while all of that was happening as well.
Yeah, thankfully I got to the airport really early.
Oh, did you watch it at the airport?
I watched it at the airport.
All right. So it's the 20th anniversary of Transamerica, which is a 2005 dramedy written and directed by Duncan Tucker. And if you don't know who Duncan Tucker is, that's okay, because he never did anything after this movie. I literally can't find anything on the internet about him.
He makes great donuts.
After this movie. Does he make... Oh, he makes good cake mixes. Duncan Hines, is that what you meant?
I think Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, Dunkin'
Unrelated.
Donuts. But yeah, so there's a 2005 movie. Stars Felicity Huffman from Desperate Housewives and Scandal later in her... Not the TV show.
Oh, yeah.
Actual Scandal.
Yeah.
Later in her career.
Ironically, her character wanted to finish their degree to become a teacher.
Yeah. It all goes full circle. But she plays Bree, a transgender woman who's preparing for sex reassignment surgery when she's contacted by her long-lost son, Toby, who's played by Kevin Zegers.
From Air Bud fame.
From the kid from Air Bud. He's also, you're not a big horror film fan, but he's Terry in the Dawn of the Dead remake, who is also known as the hot security guard. Mm-hmm. And also, do you watch The Rookie?
I do watch The Rookie.
He's in The Rookie. He had a guest appearance in the main Rookie, but he's in there was a spinoff.
The FBI one?
The FBI one. He's in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And now I'll watch that.
And there's a list of, and I wrote it down here, a supporting cast of who's who of actors who you've seen in things, but you don't know their names. Because like all of them, I was like, I don't know who that is, but I know they're in something.
The overacting mother.
The overacting mother is from Waking Ned, which was a movie in the 90s.
Do you know what else she's from? Where as soon as I saw it, I was like, of course.
The Others.
The Others.
She's the old lady from The Others. She was also recently in that Hunger Games prequel they made.
Oh, really?
She's the old grandmother in that.
Ah.
The father is Burt Young, who is Paulie from the Rocky movies. He was also in Chinatown and Once Upon a Time in America. He was in a lot of big movies back
Did he
in the
sell
day.
handbags?
He also
Chinatown?
sold handbags. Graham Greene, who plays Calvin, was in Dancing with the Wolves. He got an Oscar nomination for that one. He was in Maverick, Die Hard with a Vengeance. He was everywhere in the 90s. Carrie Preston, who I know you know,
Of course.
plays Bree's younger sister from True Blood, My Best Friend's Wedding, and then the trilogy of the Good Wife shows.
She was in My Best Friend.
She's one of the twins, yeah.
Yeah.
But she was in The Good Wife, The Good Fight, and Elsbeth.
Yes.
Which she plays the same character in all three of those.
Yes.
Spinoff of the spinoff. And then Rain or Shine, which I think is a hilarious name. His name's Rain or Shine. Plays Toby's stepfather, who was the sheriff in Fried Green Tomatoes. And he's also one of the witnesses in My Cousin Vinny, the one with the crust-covered screen that he can't see out of. So a bunch of actors who are in things that you know, but nobody knows their name. Do you know any of their names other than, I
I
people
looked
might
them
know
up.
Burt Young. But off the top of your head, did you know any of them?
Fionnuala Flanagan?
I think these are all made up names. Rain or Shine, Burt Young, Fiona Flanagan.
What if you're getting trolled?
I am. There's so little that I could find on this movie also. I know it's 20 years old,
Yeah.
but it was nominated for 2 Oscars. Best Actress for Felicity Huffman and Best Original Song for Dolly Parton's Traveling Through. Lost both of them. Hoffman lost to Reese Witherspoon for Walk the Line. And Dolly Parton lost to 3-6 Mafia for It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp from Hustle and Flow.
I'm sure she.
I will just let those two hang out there as 2 awards that Transamerica should have won.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I'm sure Dolly Parton knows that it is hard out there for her.
It sure is. But Hoffman did win the Independent Spirit Award and the Golden Globe for Best
You
Actress.
said something that reminded me of something I wanted to point out to you that I didn't.
Yeah.
You should read, and I have the playbill here in Death Becomes Her. You should read Megan Hilty's bio because it's
Does she mention me?
hilarious. It's hilarious. Do you want me to read it to you real fast?
Sure.
All right.
Only if it mentions me.
Now, when it becomes funny to you, you let me know.
Sure.
And then I'll stop doing it. Did I bring my readers in here? Oh, good Lord. I'm never going to get this done. All right. Megan Hilty has been lauded as the best actress of her generation.
You're done. No, I'm just kidding. Go.
I thought maybe you did get it. The countless accolades for her career include 9 Golden Globe Awards and 21 Oscar nominations, winning 3 for Kramer versus Kramer, Sophie's Choice, and The Iron Lady.
That's Meryl Streep.
Yes. Her whole bio is Meryl Streep.
She plays Meryl Streep's character. That's hilarious.
Yeah, the whole thing is. Anyway, back to Transamerica.
So, Bree is a transgender woman, as I mentioned, and the film opens with her trying to get approval for her vaginoplasty. And I know that word from Amelia Perez. Thank you to those songs.
Yeah, did you not think like, hey, this would be a great
great
to
musical.
put that in right here?
And while she is preparing for her surgery is in a week. She gets a call from her son Toby, her estranged son, who dead names her. And Bree's like, yeah, that person doesn't live here anymore, and that person never had a kid. So Bree talks to her therapist, who's like also like her best friend.
The woman that plays her therapist.
Oh, she's another somebody who's I've seen in things.
She plays Sofia Vergara's mother in Modern Family.
Yes, she does.
And she's been in a lot of stuff,
too,
but
yeah.
I remember her most from that.
So Bree tells her therapist about what happened, and it comes out that before she transitioned, she did have a sexual escapade with a woman and created a child. And he ended up getting arrested in New York and was calling to try to get bail money from Bree. So the therapist, because Bree just is kind of like, well, we'll deal with that after my surgery. And the therapist has to sign off on her paperwork saying that she is mentally stable enough to get the surgery done. And she says, I'm not going to sign the consent form until you deal with your past. You need
It
to
was
make
actually
peace
kind of
with
sad because she signed it and there was this, yay, this is going to happen moment. And
Yeah.
then she tells her about the son and she's like, oh, you know what? I can't sign this.
Yeah. And what's really, and I thought this part was kind of heartbreaking. And she's like, it took me a year to get a proof of the surgery because you got to get put on a list and there's a long wait list. And she's like, if I don't have the surgery done by Friday, and at this point I got the feeling like it was like Sunday, Monday timeframe, just a few days to go. And she said, I'll have to go back on the list. And the therapist, instead of being like, oh, you know what, you're right, let's get the surgery done, then you can deal with it. She's like, well, time's a ticking.
Yeah.
Better mend that relationship.
She's like, look, I'd love to sign this, but the movie would be over.
Yeah.
There'd be no reason for you to go.
So Bree, when she leaves, she just all in her feelings, as she should be. And she decides to go to New York to bail Toby out so that she can get her surgery. But she doesn't tell Toby when she gets there who she really is. Instead, she says that she is she doesn't initially say this, but they kind of, the police station leads Toby to believe that she's actually a church missionary. I guess this happens. I don't know if it still happens or if it just happened today or just happened for this story. But missionaries will go and bail people out of jail and try to lead them to Jesus.
I mean, it makes sense.
Sounds like something they do.
It sounds like something that would happen.
So she tells her, I thought this was funny. She says she's a missionary from the Church of the Potential Father, which cracked me up. And Toby said, because Bree's like, what happened to your mother? And my mother died of a stroke in Kentucky, and I was living with my stepfather there until I took off. So Bree gives Toby some money and says, hey, you take care of yourself. I got to catch a flight back to LA. Calls her therapist and said, hey, things are taken care of. Let's wrap this movie up. I got a surgery to get to. And she's like, you're a liar. You didn't do none of that. You didn't mend nothing. Go in there and fix that. Fix that relationship. So at this point, it turns into like one of your standard road trip kind of comedy dramas. Bree gets a car from one of Toby's drug dealer friends. And the plan is to go to LA, but Bree is actually going to detour through Kentucky and drop Toby off at his stepfather's house, which Toby is very adamant about, does not want to see his stepfather. One of the weird parts of this movie is at first in the beginning, Toby tries seducing and hustling his mother, Bree. And now obviously he doesn't know that is his biological parent. And Toby is a street hustler, making money and turning tricks, getting by however he can. And he starts doing a little flirt, which is kind of gross to the audience. He's trying to fuck his mother, but all right. So Bree takes him to Kentucky while he's sleeping in the car.
That doesn't happen to the end, though, right?
That part. In the beginning, when they first get to his apartment, and he's like being a little, hey, how you doing? Come sit over here. And she's like, no.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you why, but we are not doing that. So they get to Kentucky, and as soon as Toby gets out of the car and he's throwing a fit, this lady comes over to him and is like all excited to see him.
It doesn't. This movie isn't very secretive. Like, where it's going.
Yeah.
Like, how does she not pick up on this? Especially growing up in a family like she grew up in that didn't accept her. I mean, if he's earning a living on the street as a sex worker, there is a high likelihood back in the time when this movie was made that something happened to him in his house. And when he's adamant about not going home to his stepfather, it kind of adds up.
And particularly at this point in the movie, I don't think she cares. Her main focus is dumping him off anywhere she can because she's got it back. She's just tunnel focused on, I need that surgery. So this lady is is the stepfather's neighbor. And I guess had kind of gone to raising Toby after his mother died, which we find out she did not die of a stroke. She killed herself.
Yes.
So Toby, just like Bree, is a liar. They both lie.
Unless he was like, oh, no, he would know.
He would know. He would know.
Runs in the family.
So it comes out that the stepfather molested him after the mother died, And
That
Bree,
was an uncomfortable scene too, wasn't
yes,
it?
because Bree didn't realize. So Bree goes next door and knocks on the door and is like, "Hey, you don't know me, but I have your stepson next door. Do you want to come meet him or come see him?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he goes in there and beats the shit out of Toby.
Well, yeah, because Toby was like, he's like, "Oh, I missed you," and he's like,
Yeah,
you missed that mouth.
Yeah, you missed that mouth. And then he's
you're
like,
like,
"Shut
"Ugh."
up!" And then he beats him up.
But then Toby knocks the shit out of him.
No.
Doesn't he kick him
the
and knock him out?
neighbor hits him
Oh.
over the head with, I think, a sewing kit. I don't know. It was like a tackle box looking thing, but it should look like a Fisher.
It wasn't like a tin of cookies that has been replaced with the sewing kits?
No.
Have you
This
seen
was
it?
like a big tackle box thing.
Oh, okay.
But no, I do the butter cookies
Yes.
in the tin. So the first night after Toby and Bree leave, and that first night they camp out outside, which is not something that Bree enjoys doing. So the second night, the therapist sets them up with a place to stay. I believe they're in Texas at this point. And it is a trans person that the therapist knows, who, and they mention in the movie going stealth. And Bree was okay going to stay at this place because she was told by her therapist that this individual was a stealth trans person. And Bree is very scared of people knowing that she's transgender at this point.
Yeah, stealth meaning
You can't tell that
you
they're
can't
trans.
tell, and they don't tell.
Yeah, they don't vocalize it.
Yeah.
But she gets in there and they're having a full-on trans party. Just a house full of trans people, and they're having a big old party. And so Bree's a little off-put by that. But Toby's like, what? They're nice people. They're having a party, so we'll stay. So they get on the road next day, and they're driving. Toby's driving now, and they have to pull over because Bree has to pee. So Bree's back behind the car. She squat down peeing, and I don't know, there was an animal noise or something. I don't know if it was a coyote or a wolf or something makes a noise out.
Right, and she's very scared of everything animal related. Yeah.
So she stands up, and obviously not having the surgery yet, Toby sees that she is standing while she pees.
Full frontal. See it
Full frontal. Yeah, you see everything. So they end up having Toby gets very quiet and is lashing out at Bree. Bree doesn't know why, and they end up having a fight at this roadside store. They said a name for it. It's kind of like a roadside kind of like little stand set up where they sell knickknacks and stuff like that. So they have a big fight, and while they're fighting in the car, right before they get in the car, Toby tells the owner of this little roadside stand that Bree, I believe his exact words, she has a dick, is what he says. And it just mortifies
He doesn't
Bree.
handle it very well.
No, he does not.
No, and he doesn't, he lashes out for sure.
And Bree is mortified, goes to the car, and he's like, "You lied to me, blah, 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 blah." And then while they're arguing in the car, a hitchhiker comes by. Nice young gentleman, seems great vibes, as the kids would say, totally chill. And so he's like, "Hey, can you give me a ride?" And Toby's like, "Yeah, hop in." And they end up going to like this little watering hole, and the two boys go skinny dipping. And Bree's just hanging out there. I just noticed as I'm saying this, her name's Bree in this, and in Desperate Housewives, Bree is also the stuffy, stick-up-her-ass person. I guess it's just with the name.
So, yeah.
No disrespect to anybody named Bree.
They're probably too uptight to listen to this anyway.
Yeah, huh?
They're too uptight to listen to this podcast anyway.
That's true. So while they're at the watering hole, cool, nice vibes hippie guy steals their fucking car. Just hops in, and he's like, "Hey, suckers."
Yeah.
And takes off.
Not cool.
So they have to hitchhike to the nearest town, where Toby tells Bree, because he has little baggies of cocaine. I don't know drugs. I don't use them, but it looks like he has little baggies of cocaine.
I've seen a picture of one at Dare when the officer came to my school.
I have seen movies that were rated PG-13 that had little white baggies.
Well, I've never held one in my hand, but I'm pretty sure that was cocaine.
So he tells Bree, I'm going to go sell this cocaine to get some money.
The thing about this actually was like, for some reason, upsetting to me. Like when
That
he stole the car. No, they stole the car. I thought it was so mean.
Absolutely.
Because her hormones,
her purse were in there, everything.
You replace the money, but I mean, she needs those. And that just really, I find that really annoying.
Yeah, it was a dick move.
Yeah,
horrible
totally.
move.
Yeah, I mean, the guy he wasn't going to sell that little bag for anything.
No. So he tells Bree he's going to sell the drugs, but instead he finds a truck driver and goes and sleeps with him for money. So while he's doing that, Bree meets Calvin. And Calvin's sitting up at the bar, and when she sits up there, there's an old plate of fries that somebody had left there, and there's like $2 of a tip. Somebody had left a tip before they were leaving. And it looks like she's going for the tip, and Calvin kind of looks over at her, and then she starts eating the fries off the plate. And I'm like, oh, that's gross. And he's like, are you okay? Do you need help? And he buys her a burger, and they chat, and Calvin, unlike the little hippie prick, is a lovely guy. He's delightful. I love him.
There's an exchange that made me laugh. She asked him at some point, she's like, have you spent all of your life in New Mexico? And he goes, not yet.
Not yet.
That made me laugh.
But obviously there's some sparks flying there. Calvin seems to come smitten with Bree. Bree seems to like Calvin. So Toby comes back after, earning some money. And Calvin says, I'm going as far. I forget how far he was going, but he goes, I'm going as far as this town. I can take you guys there. So he ends up taking them to Bree's parents' house in Arizona, I believe is where her parents live. So he drives them into Arizona. And we learn, because earlier in the film, when they first met, she told Toby my parents were dead. And she's like, this is my parents' house. And he's like, another lie.
Lie number 2.
So many lies.
There's a third one.
There's a big third one coming. So Bree's parents are not accepting. The father is a little more accepting of Bree, but the mother is just full on...
dead naming.
Horrible dead naming. You did this to me.
When she first got there and the mom was like, did you do it? And then grabs her crotch and it's like, oh, thank God. Like, how a rude
and
bitch.
Bree's response was she took her hands and put her on her tits. And she's like, how do you like those? What are we touching next? So the mother is just such a horrible person, and I can't stand it, whether it's whatever LGBTQ or whatever these expectations that parents put on their children, and when they don't live up to those expectations, why are you doing this to me? It's not about you. It's not just because you birthed the life doesn't mean it's your life.
Yeah.
And she's so
definitely a sign of the times.
Yes.
Right? Back in the time that this movie was made, it was what the kids were doing to the parents.
Yeah. And there's still parents like that today. They just
don't make movies about them.
They just don't make movies about them, and they all voted for Trump. Bree ends up telling him that Toby is his son or her son, but says Toby doesn't know, don't tell him. And the mother goes running out there like, I have a grandson. And then her whole manner changes with him, and she's like in love with him.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like, I'm not going to put the blame on the parents, but I'm just going to point out that she's got some kids here that weren't raised that great.
Yeah,
and have some things going on in their lives, and aside from, I mean, it has nothing to do with being trans, but the person, there was definitely some sort of something going on with Bree that that there's a residual from her upbringing, and she's uptight and she's like not happy, and there's all this stuff. So there's definitely something going on there. And as soon as she finds out she has this grandkind, she runs out there and she's like, oh, I'm gonna raise this kid, and I'm just thinking, this kid has had it tough. This time. It's like, he's had it tough enough. He doesn't need you in his life.
Yeah. And then we meet Bree's sister, who also has been through tough times. She's recovering addict. So there's just a lot going on with the family. So they all decide to go to dinner that night. And while at dinner, Bree asks to borrow money for a flight back to LA. And the mother ends up agreeing, we'll give you the money if Toby stays and lives with us. He's going to stay in Arizona. We're going to raise him to be, the upstanding citizen that none of my children ever turned out to be.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what he wants. This is what I'm going to do.
And that, again, goes back to the mother. It doesn't matter what anybody else wants.
Right.
It's about me. Me. You did this to me. I need you to fix this for me, blah, blah, blah. So, Toby's talking with Bree, and he's like, what do you think? Should, because they've got a pool, which he really digs. He's swimming in the pool. It's a really nice house. And Bree's like, you got to do whatever's going to, what you want to do, what makes you happy. So then we get to the really awkward
did we
scene.
mention that the whole thing is like he wants to go to LA to be a film star?
Oh, yeah. His whole plan was he wanted to go with Bree to go to LA because he wants to get into movies.
Like pornographic movies.
Yeah, pornographic movies. Yeah. Gay films. Gay porno films. He wants to be a porno star. So we get to the
Just to be clear.
Just to be clear. He wants to do X-rated, very sexually graphic, Sean Cody style.
Yeah, butt stuff.
Gay butt stuff. So Bree's in her room, and Toby comes in and basically starts seducing his mother. Doesn't know it's his mother. I just want to put that out there.
This is an awkward scene.
Yes, because she knows. And she's like, calm down. And he takes his robe off.
She did
and
not.
kisses her.
She did not pull away fast enough.
No, your kid leans in and romantically kisses you. You stop that immediately. She paused for a split second.
He walks in and drops that robe at all. And you say, goodbye.
No. Put your robe back on.
She's
I
just
saw
like,
you in Air Bud
no.
when you were 7. You stop this right now. So Bree's like, listen. Oh, because he said, I'll marry you if that's what you want. He goes, I think I love you and I want to marry you. And she's like, ooh, I got to tell you something.
Yeah, you're embarrassed right now, but let me make this 1,000 times worse for you.
Here's where you are. Here's where I'm going to take it. And
whatever your life is about to change.
Yeah.
When you
we
find
should
out.
mention earlier when they first, in the very beginning of the film, when she takes Toby to his apartment, he shows a picture of his mom and his dad. He goes, that's my mom. She's dead. That's my dad. I'm going to go to LA to find him because I'm going to live there. I'm going to be an actor in porno. And she has a photo booth at her mom, or a photo, not a booth.
Album.
Thank you. She has a photo album and at her mom's house, and she opens it and it's the same photo. And he looks confused and he's like, those are my parents. And he goes, that's your mom. And then points to the other one. That's me. And then he starts to connect it. And then he puts his robe on and storms out, and she goes after him, and she belts him, or he belts her right in the eye.
Yeah.
Knocks her out. Now, I never resort to violence, but you got to imagine what's going through this kid's head. I just kissed my mom, who just told me that she's my dad. He's probably not in a very mental health space.
I mean, that's, yeah. He you imagine what his life was like before he walked in that room.
Yeah.
He's like, I know her situation. I'm cool with it. She's the only person.
You're going in and I'm going to marry. You're knocking on the door thinking, I'm about to get married. I'm about to leave this room engaged.
Right? No matter what's going on. Yeah, I know the whole situation.
That's my ride or die.
She loves Jesus. I love her. She's shown me the more affection than anybody in my entire life has shown me.
I'm going to go in there and drop my robe and I'm going to bone her so good.
And we're going to do this, and you bust into that room. And you're like, what?
And,
what?
I'm your parent.
So, yeah, I feel like, he's going to speak with his fist for a minute. Yeah.
So the next morning, we find out that Toby left in the middle of the night, took money out of the grandma's purse, stole one of her very expensive statues, I'm assuming to get money. And
how much could that statue have been worth? I mean, you saw this. I don't know anything about art.
I don't know either, but it was a very
she
nice
was like,
penguin.
be careful with that. It's very expensive.
It's a skiing penguin or something.
All
But Bree ends up getting the money and flying back to LA to get her surgery. It seems like they kind of brush over this really quickly, but it seems like she leaves in a better position with her family. Like her mother ends up calling her Bree.
Yeah, as soon as she got punched, her mom was
she's
like,
oh, you know what? Maybe I am being a bitch. I will call you Bree from now on. Now get off my floor.
She's like, well, I never hit you.
So she gets the surgery, and then her therapist comes to see her after the surgery and asks her how things are going. And Bree breaks down crying because she really bonded with Toby and was like, I'm ready to be a parent to this kid. And now he wants nothing to do with me. Fast forward, Bree is healed, is waiting tables. I will mention at this point, super disappointed in Felicity Huffman's serving skills. Do you see when she took the plates? She took one of the plates of food, put it right on top of the other person's food. That's good. And it's Mexican. It's a Mexican restaurant. So there's cheese on the bottom of that plate now, probably some sour cream and guacamole. I'd have fired her. I know you just got out of the hospital, Bree, but
I hope she wasn't planning on that job to pay for her education.
Yeah, you need that terrible. And then she just like puts the dishes on top of the counter as soon as she gets back there. You take them to the dish room, Bree, and we know you know where it is because that's what you were doing in the beginning of the movie. You worked in the dish room. Anyway, she's at home. We cut to Toby. He mentioned early in the movie that he wanted to move to California, take up surfing, and dye his hair blonde. I don't know if he took up surfing, but he did dye his hair blonde. I don't know how I feel about him as a blonde. It didn't really fit.
It fit for the movie he was making.
Yes. So he's in the process of filming a gay porno film, a gay, explicit, sexual film with another gentleman. Then he can't get it up, so a fluffer comes in. If you don't know what a fluffer is, Google it. And then they cut to
on someone else's computer.
Yeah, look up fluffer on someone else's computer. We cut to Bree's house.
I like that. Did you take your Viagra?
Oh yeah. Toby is at the door, and he goes, I came by to see if you went through with the surgery. And she's like, it's done. And they start talking. He says, I want a beer. She gets him a beer. And they start to repair the relationship. Movie ends with them in a good spot. It looks like
it had a bit of a 70s sitcom ending to me, because she turns away to go get the beer, and then she leans back and she's like, young man, if you think you're going to put your feet on my brand new coffee table, you are sorely mistaken.
And
so he puts them off. She turns around and smiles like,
end scene. And that is the end of the movie.
oh my God. Did you see when she was crying after she had her surgery and she missed her son? So she was crying.
Oh, just drooling. Yeah.
Like Jonathan Groffen all over the.
Yeah.
At least he didn't
gross.
drool like that. Ugh.
Oh, and my computer.
How did
just
he know
died.
where she lived?
My computer just died.
Oh.
I'm assuming this is still working, but none of this
How
works.
fun. The last couple of minutes will be just me on the video.
Well, I think we're done. You have anything to add?
Well, I was gonna. I mean, we're gonna do Rotten Tomatoes. We're gonna do the grapes. We have all that stuff to do.
All right, well, let's get to
But
that.
I also wanted to just say about this film that it's just fascinating to me to go back 20 years and to watch TV or movies or anything about something that at the time was groundbreaking, and now it just seems outdated.
Yeah.
It's the I think they did a pretty good job. I mean, from my perspective, right? I'm from a non-trans perspective watching this. It looked like, I know that there's a whole conversation that people will have about like they should have cast a trans
actress.
Trans actress. So there's that but aside from that conversation, I think all in all, that the character herself kind of like held her like.
I also think that it's particularly for the time, because this is the same year that Breakfast on Pluto came out, and a few years before Dallas Buyers Club came out. I think it was a little more progressive to cast a cisgender woman than to cast a cisgender man and have him dress up as a woman. So I think it's a little more progressive in that aspect. And I thought they handled the subject really well for the time.
Yeah, it's just amazing this how vile people's comments are to them.
Yeah.
Like especially her family.
Yeah.
Just vile.
But the movie, I'm pretty sure did really well with critics. It was winning awards, at least for Felicity Huffman. So I think the critic score is probably pretty good.
There are a lot of reviews, just
there?
to let you know.
I will say 89 for critics, and I will say 82 for audiences.
77 critics. Isn't that
Really?
surprising?
That is surprising.
And 83 audiences.
Okay. That is very surprising for the critics.
I thought it was better than those scores.
Yeah. I thought it was very good. I'd give it 3 grapes.
3 grapes?
Yeah.
I'll give it 3.5.
Yeah.
I think it was good. When you go back 20 years in a movie and you try to see, like, does it hold up? And I wasn't bored at all with this movie. I mean, I was very interested. I split it up because, I started watching it at the airport, but then I had to get on the plane. And then I watched it this morning, finished it before I came in. But I was very interested in the outcome of it. I thought that they did a good job. I think that it seemed somewhat time like that. I could have watched that and thought that movie was made yesterday.
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job with it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that the guy who wrote and directed it hasn't done anything with his life since then. Just living off the residuals of that, I guess. I don't know where he's at.
I don't know how many residuals you get on a 7783, but
there is literally nothing online about
I know
him.
that he'll be able to eat dinner tonight because I rented it on my computer, which didn't translate. It must have been a different account than the account on my TV, so I had to rent it again.
Oh, okay.
So there you go.
I watched it free on Tubi.
Yeah, nah. I can't do the commercials.
Yeah. I like it with the commercials because it gives me a little break to write up some notes.
Imagine like you're watching it and he's like, hey, take off a robe, and he's trying to have sex with a parent, and then it cuts to a commercial.
Yeah.
What's
I will
gonna
say
happen?
Tubi does a really good job at putting commercial breaks where it's between scenes.
Yeah.
They do it. You know who doesn't do a good job? Max. So I had to get rid of, and maybe that's the whole point of it. They do it so haphazardly that you have to get the ad-free version of Max because you just can't watch it any other way.
Did you notice at the end? Did you watch the credits at all?
I watched the credits. I listened to the Dolly Parton song, but then I didn't realize that Tubi does the thing where, like, if you don't hit I want to watch the credits, like 20 seconds into the credits, they put a new movie on.
I feel like I saw William H. Macy's name. Is he involved in this?
Well, he's married to Felicity Huffman, so he probably executive produced it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good for him. Are they still married?
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
All
Going
right.
on. Oh, no, wait. Yeah. Yeah, they are the ones married. Yeah. Going on. They were married back then, and that was 20 years ago, so at least 20 years.
Well, all in all, it was a good show.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good
Good
movie.
show.
Good times.
It was a good week.
It
I'll
was.
be very interested to talk about what next week is going to be like because, I just had this great, amazing week.
Yeah.
So I
and
don't
now
know.
just the same old grind.
I will say this, though, and I think I can talk about it. I'm going to Epic on Saturday.
Oh, very nice.
So I'll have that to talk about for sure.
Beautiful. Well, we look forward to that epic conversation.
Oh, God. Everyone who's been there, today was an epic day. Yeah.
Well, I look forward to hearing about your epic day. And until then, the cork is back in the bottle.